I'm not fucking around when I tell you that the irresponsible Captain Tylor is worth your time. One of the biggest reasons why I say this is because of how genuinely fun the characters' relationships are. It's a very diverse anime in a lot of ways, and the most vital of these are in the characters. So on one hand you have Tylor, a lazy yet very charismatic character who's always super laid back and in high spirits. He kinda lets life take him wherever, which is in total contrast to the rest of the crew members on board the Soyokaze, which is their ship. While extremely varied in personality, the rest of the characters are generally a lot more uptight than the captain. Some more than others, but for the most part they take their jobs and the lives that they live on the vessel very seriously. Right off the bat, there's a night and day difference between the captain and the rest of the cast. This is where the bulk of the comedy comes from. Giving the most laid back and childish character authority over all these space military soldiers is just flat out funny. And while you may expect an anime like this to focus heavily on tactical space combat and politics, it's actually quite diverse in its themes. The show's not afraid to jump around with what kind of stories it tells. It can go from an internal uprising in one episode, to a romantic comedy in the next, to horror another time. Each episode stays unpredictable and exciting. You'll never know what kind of situation they're gonna get into next. The more you spend time with the crew of the Soyokaze, the more they start to feel like a family, as you experience so many emotional highs and lows with them. Tylor himself is a bit similar to Light Yagami in his Death Note in the way that his very presence affects the world around him. He's the sole reason for most of the wacky scenarios they get in, the development in the characters, and the overall story progression. As far as I know, he isn't really aware of the effect that his actions are causing, though there are moments that kinda hint towards him knowing a bit more than you're first led to believe.
You're pretty good at making stuff up.
Oh, you're pretty good at making stuff up too, Azaleen.
Huh?
And while it may seem like he has a lot of areas to grow in, Tylor is somewhat of a flat character, meaning he doesn't develop or change through the show. He's not that complex and he doesn't really have any faults, unless you're counting irresponsibility as one. So the character development that does happens in the side characters as a result of the contrasting personalities between them and the captain. The fighters on the ship are always amped up and ready to fight. The crew members in the pilot's bay are super uptight and punctual, and overall everybody puts in a lot of effort to fulfill their duties. And then you got fucking Tylor, who just does not care about formalities or the war or any of that stuff. He's just trying to have a good time and relax, which obviously makes him the black sheep of the crew. So, as the show goes on and all the characters spend more time together, slowly, one by one, Tylor causes the other members on board to look within themselves, in what they hold to be important, how they carry themselves, their motivations, and how they treat others. There's a lot you can take away from Tylor as well. You may notice one of his most defining and positive personality traits is how he's able to stay relaxed in any situation. No matter how bad things get, he keeps his chin up and stays positive. And since he does that, he's able to lead his crew towards resolving any kind of situation. However, because of how relaxed he is, even in the most dire of times, it causes his crew members to doubt if Tylor's worthy of being their captain. He's criticized very often by the characters surrounding him.
The Soyokaze is currently in a state of demotion.
Right.
Under these circumstances, the captain has to maintain a firm bearing.
Maintain a firm bearing.
Mainly for reasons along the lines of being too irresponsible, childish, and nonchalant. But, like I said, Tylor's mainly a flat character, so as the situations unfold, it's shown that the things that Tylor was being criticized for may actually be his strong suit. The characters realize this, along with how much the captain really means to them over the course of the show, but I'm just scratching the surface. The previously mentioned diversity in its storytelling allows the show to cover a vast amount of lessons and topics with each episode, while staying in touch with its general atmosphere and charm. However, this isn't a book. Books are bad. There's obviously more than just great storytelling, character development, and themes. So how does the animation side of this anime hold up? Well, to start, this anime was clearly made with cell animation, which I've actually become a big fan of. It's part of the reason why I think this anime, along with a lot of other older ones, have colors that pop out a bit more and seem to have a bit more consistency to the quality overall. From the space battles to casual conversations, visually it's full of energy and has a consistent, clean look. In the more dramatic scenes, the animation makes you feel that shit. Like, I don't know who's responsible for this scene.
The Empress's pride wouldn't allow her to cry, even over the death of her parents. What you saw was not real.
but I literally felt that. It's not just polished and pretty to look at, but there was a lot of attention put into having the animation make you feel the emotion that the scene needs you to feel. However, visuals alone aren't enough to hit you where it hurts. That's where the music comes in. For pretty much any kind of content creator, music is one of the best tools you have to invoke emotion in your audience. And Kenji Kawai, the composer, well known for his collaborations with Mamoru Oshii, fucking knocked it out of the park once again. The Irresponsible Captain Tylor has one of the most diverse sounding and memorable OSTs I've heard. It doesn't stick to a single theme or sound for their songs. There's dramatic songs that have an Old West kind of sound to them and portray that feeling of being back on the rocks, and life being tough. The theme for the crew and the captain's shenanigans is super cheerful and upbeat and brings you into the carefree and fun vibe of the scene. Some of the battle songs, like Lieutenant Yamamoto's theme, are inspiring and it really gets you into that fighting spirit. Also, it reminds me of a Super Nintendo JRPG. And that's just naming a few. Fuck, there's melancholic songs, romantic songs, spooky songs, the list goes on, with each song having their own sound that's curated to whatever emotion's trying to be portrayed. And that's perfect for an anime like this, because to go with the diversity in music, the actual content of the anime is extremely diverse as well. Now, voice acting is obviously another tool that anime or filmmaking in general has to immerse you in its stories. And while I usually prefer watching the dub for most anime, this one was extremely hit or miss for me.
Anyway, make sure that the captain opens it when he wakes up.
Sure thing.
それじゃあ艦長が起きたらよろしくってな。
いいわ。
Some parts are okay, but overall I'd say it was bad enough to warrant me switching to the sub version, which, like I said, does not happen often. But no matter which one you end up choosing, the stellar music and visuals along with the stories being told will still give you the authentic, irresponsible Captain Tylor experience. The experience that reminds you to relax a little, always look on the bright side, and do what makes you happy. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's sail away for future. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreons, Takumi, Baron, Waker, Juicy, Clay, Kent, Cumbelly the Fulfilled, and Caleb. Your support means the fucking world to me, and also a quick thank you to HaydenLuvsAnime for helping me out with some of the research and writing on this one. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.